Welcome to this Forge College Explainer. I'll be your chief engineer today, and I am honestly absolutely thrilled to guide you through setting up your static analysis lab. Now, if you hung out with us for a previous lesson, overview of static analysis tools, you already know the theory, right? You know what these things do. But look, theory doesn't secure smart contracts. Action does. So today, we're taking off the white gloves, getting our hands dirty with some command line magic, and actually installing Slither and Mythril. And we're going to do it cleanly, without turning your computer's global environment into a complete chaotic mess of broken dependencies.
All right, here's today's engineering blueprint. We've got a quick welcome to the lab, then we'll activate our containment protocol, assemble the analyzers, and run a live test. After that, we'll hit our QA checkpoints before wrapping up with your next steps. Let's dive in.
Section 1. Welcome to the lab. Let's do a quick recap and brief the dynamic duo we're bringing into the laboratory today.
So, our two heavy hitters perfectly contrast each other. Like we learned recently, Slither is our incredibly fast, maybe slightly pedantic building inspector. It's looking at the abstract syntax tree and the intermediate representation of your code. Basically, it's sniffing around for code smells, semantic issues, surface-level patterns, and it does it in literally seconds. Mythril, on the other hand, is our deep sea explorer. It uses symbolic execution to meticulously check every possible timeline and execution path for complex flaws and, concrete vulnerabilities. Since they hunt for totally different classes of bugs, you really need both installed and playing nicely together.
Section 2. The containment protocol. Because before we install a single piece of software, we absolutely need to discuss survival. Specifically, surviving the absolute nightmare that is global environment conflicts. So the crucial point here is the virtual environment. Think of it as a containment protocol, like an airlock for your software. It makes sure our highly sensitive security apparatus runs in a clean, isolated space. Look, if you install everything globally on your machine, eventually tool A is going to need version 1 of a library, and tool B needs version 2, and suddenly, boom, neither of them work, and you're staring at a terrifying wall of dark, unbroken error text. By using the command python3-m-vn, we literally create a beautiful, isolated bubble just for our project.
To build this securely, we're going to lean on a magic engineering principle, the idempotent script. Now, idempotent is a fancy $50 word, but it just means you can run the script one time or 100 times, and you'll always get the exact same clean result without breaking the system. No leftover junk, no duplicate installations. If something goes wrong, you just run it again. It's kind of like a magical reset button for your entire workflow.
Section 3. Assembling the analyzers. Let's roll up our sleeves, grab our technical blueprint, and actually put these things together.
Now, you might be asking yourself, and it's a super fair question, why write an entire bash script for this? Why not just casually type these install commands into the terminal manually every single time we start a new project?
Well, because humans make typos. A script encodes the exact sequence, the pinned versions, the precise flags. This is absolutely crucial because it means you can share this flawless setup with your whole team. Like, if a new developer joins your audit team on Tuesday morning, you just hand them the script, and by Tuesday afternoon, their machine is perfectly married to yours. 0, well, it works on my machine, excuses.
So here's our exact bill of materials. First, we create our workspace directory. Second, we isolate the environment using venv. Third, we install Slither. Now, notice we recommend pipx for Slither, which puts it in its own isolated global environment so you can run it anywhere. But honestly, standard pip inside your venv works just as well. Finally, we install Mythril using pip. By pinning specific versions, like Slither 0.10.3 and Mythril 0.24.16, we pretty much eliminate any nasty surprises.
Section 4. The live test run. Because tools are absolutely no good if they just sit on a shelf looking shiny, right? It's time for a live test on a tiny dummy contract we'll call simple.sol.
Here is our verification workflow. It follows 4 simple sequential steps. First, we mock up the contract, just a basic function and a storage variable so the analyzers have something to actually chew on. Second, we check our compiler artifacts. Both Slither and Mythril absolutely need Sulk accessible on your system path to understand the code. Third, we unleash Slither. And fourth, we unleash Mythril.
For Slither, we use this precise command line. Now, pay attention to that flag at the end, --print human summary. This is a real game changer because, by default, security tools love to just throw a massive wall of text at you. Asking for a human summary gives us a fast, super readable checklist of what Slither found, neatly categorizing things from critical vulnerabilities all the way down to simple informational code smells.
With Mythril, we're taking a completely different approach. We specifically demand machine-readable output using the -o JSON flag, and we pipe that output straight into a file. Why? Because Mythril's symbolic execution and rigorous constraint solving generates insanely detailed state analysis. We don't want to just read that in the terminal once and lose it forever. We want to capture that JSON file so we can programmatically parse it, log it as an artifact, or, feed it into an automated dashboard later.
Section 5. Quality Assurance Checkpoints. Running the tools is only half the battle. As an engineer, you gotta ask, how do we practically verify that our installation actually worked?
Well, we have 4 rigorous pass-fail conditions for our QA checkpoint. 1. Slither has to return an exit code of 0, meaning it ran perfectly with no fatal errors. 2. Mythril must produce a non-empty JSON file. If it's completely blank, something broke. 3. The script must be 100% idempotent. If you run it twice, it absolutely shouldn't crash the second time. And 4. Performance. For a tiny contract like simple.sol, this whole thing should take under 5 minutes. If it hangs for an hour, you might need to add some flags to limit Mythril's execution depth.
So, what does success actually look like? Well, if Slither passes check 1, you're going to see a clean conceptual summary exactly like this printed right in your terminal. It tells you exactly what it found in a completely readable way, rather than, vomiting a terrifying Python traceback error all over your screen. And if Mythril succeeds, your captured machine-readable file is going to look like this precise JSON block. You can see the tool version and an array of issues mapped directly to the Smart Contract Weakness Classification Registry, the SWC. Seeing this structured data confirms that Mythril successfully compiled the code and actively went hunting for deep vulnerabilities.
Section 6. Wrap-up and next steps. Excellent! Our lab is officially fully functional. Let's sign off on this project and review our core architectural rules.
As the chief engineer of your own workstation, your main takeaways today are threefold. First, always isolate your dependencies. Embrace the virtual environment, folks. Second, treat every single analysis run as a verifiable artifact. Save those JSON outputs, pin your versions, make it perfectly reproducible. And third, keep your configurations delightfully minimal. Only suppress detectors or add complex flags when you have a very specific, documented reason to do so.
Now, with a completely reproducible installation in place, the real question is, what are you going to do with all these captured JSON logs and human summaries? Having the tools installed is just the foundation, right? The real power comes from what you build on top of it.
And that leads us perfectly into our next mission, command line usage and output interpretation. Thank you so much for joining this Forge College Explainer. I highly encourage you to head over to forge.college to dive deeper into our whole library of Web3 security topics. Get your environments built and test your scripts today, because you really have to ask yourself, when your automated workflow finally catches a critical zero-day vulnerability in your smart contract, are you actually going to know how to fix it? Think about it. I'll see you in the next lesson to decode those findings.